For over a decade, millions of viewers watched them fight the world for their love. A 30-year age gap, cultural division, secret marriages, family disownment, and relentless internet backlash. Against every single parameter of odds, Jenny Slatan and Sumit Singh defied reality and stayed together. But today, the cameras aren't capturing explosive family fights or romantic victories in New Delhi. They are documenting a quiet, devastating nightmare, a battle where love isn't enough and time is running out fast. This is the tragic, dramatic reality of Jenny Slatan's escalating illness and the financial storm threatening to tear their sacrifice apart. It started as a subtle murmur across fan forums and social media. When viewers began noticing small, unsettling shifts in Jenny's speech during recent online appearances, the internet did what it always does. It speculated wildly. Rumors flooded comment sections with fans guessing she had suffered a sudden stroke or was recovering from a severe medical emergency. But the horrific truth behind the curtain was far more terrifying than any rumor circulating online. Jenny Slatan was officially diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a relentless, progressive, and completely incurable neurodegenerative disease. Day by day, this unforgiving illness is stripping away the very traits that defined her. Her physical strength is rapidly eroding. Simple daily movements have become monumental struggles, and the ability to project her voice is slipping away. For a woman whose loud, energetic personality served as the emotional anchor for one of reality television's most iconic and polarizing couples, this forced, heartbreaking silence is a tragic reality that no one saw coming. While ALS remains an incurable diagnosis, specialized clinical programs, advanced therapeutic interventions, and cutting-edge palliative care in the United States offer vital management options that could significantly slow her loss of mobility, support her respiratory function, and improve her immediate quality of life. But in a battle against a neurodegenerative condition, time is not merely a variable. It is the ultimate unyielding enemy. Every single day that passes without targeted medical intervention allows the disease to gain irreversible ground, making Jenny's immediate return to America an absolute, life-altering necessity so she can access the comprehensive coverage provided by her American health insurance. Yet orchestrating an international move under the weight of a rapidly deteriorating physical state is a monumental, harrowing task. The dynamic between the couple has completely transformed. Sumit has stepped into the exhausting, emotionally taxing role of a full-time caregiver, setting aside everything else to manage her daily survival. He's now locked in a frantic bureaucratic race against the clock, desperately attempting to secure an emergency US visa so he can remain by her side, guide her through transit, and advocate for her inside American medical facilities. Flying across the globe while severely frail is dangerous enough, but attempting it without her husband, primary caregiver, and emotional anchor is virtually impossible, leaving the couple trapped in a high-stakes, terrifying ordeal where every administrative delay threatens to derail their final hope for proper medical care. Navigating the care for a terminal, fast-moving illness comes with an astronomical, overwhelming financial toll, one that can instantly shatter a family's lifetime of hard-earned security. With specialized neurological therapies, round-the-clock supportive care, emergency travel logistics, and looming medical expenses stacking up, Jenny and Sumit's combined life savings have rapidly evaporated into thin air. In a move of utter, heartbreak-fueled desperation, reports have surfaced indicating that Sumit Singh has reached the ultimate breaking point. He has officially made the painful decision to put his home in India on the market, liquidating his single biggest physical asset just to secure the immediate liquid cash needed to finance Jenny's ongoing medical care, specialized equipment, and crucial international transport to the United States. Sumit is putting absolutely everything he owns on the line, stripping away his own financial foundation to buy Jenny whatever comfort, dignity, and precious time modern medicine can afford her. Yet behind this image of selfless spousal sacrifice lies a far darker, deeply volatile financial fracture within their household. As funds dwindled and stress reached an absolute boiling point, reports revealed that Jenny made a devastating allegation claiming that $50,000 of their shared, hard-fought savings was spent by Sumit without her prior knowledge, consent, or consultation. In a moment where every single dollar literally represents a lifeline for her medical future, The sudden disappearance of $50,000 from their accounts created an intense web of suspicion, panic, and internal conflict right when they needed unity the most. Whether those funds were drained by off-the-books medical consultations, complex legal fees for emergency visa processing, or unseen personal debts, the fallout from this missing money has sent shockwaves through their relationship. It has transformed an already tragic medical nightmare into a high-stakes financial disaster, leaving fans worldwide watching in heartbreak as a couple who fought the world for 13 years now faces their most agonizing chapter in near financial ruin. Just as fans across the globe began rallying around the couple in their darkest hour, a shattering bombshell surfaced that instantly threw their tragic story into an intense public controversy. Despite her diminishing voice and failing physical strength, Jenny made a devastating allegation that shook the fan community to its core. $50,000 of their collective life savings, funds meant to secure their future and fund emergency care, had been spent by Sumit without her prior knowledge, consent, or authorization. In a country where $50,000 represents a monumental sum of money, the sudden disappearance of such a massive reserve turned an already terrifying medical crisis into a toxic atmosphere of financial panic and deep interpersonal rift. Questions immediately exploded across social media and news outlets. Was this fortune quietly funneled into high-priced immigration lawyers, unofficial visa expediting fees, or emergency medical consults that failed to produce receipts? Or was it swallowed up by hidden debts and backroom deals made under the immense pressure of their mounting crisis? While Sumit maintains that his sole unwavering focus is saving Jenny's life and getting her to American medical facilities, the complete breakdown in communication left a vulnerable, terminally ill Jenny feeling isolated, unheard, and financially exposed during the most precarious stretch of her life. Now, as Jenny's advanced age and the relentless progression of ALS completely encircle her, the probability of any physical recovery remains heartbreakingly slim. A story that began with a decade-long crusade against cultural norms and parental disapproval is now collapsing under the double burden of terminal disease and shattered financial trust. As Sumit desperately pushes to liquidate his property and secure an emergency visa, millions of viewers are left watching the unfolding drama in complete heartbreak, praying for a peaceful resolution, a medical miracle, and a safe journey to America before time finally runs out. To truly comprehend the overwhelming weight of their present tragedy, we have to travel all the way back to the quiet digital beginning, where this improbable saga was born. In 2012, inside the unassuming space of a Facebook chat box, Jenny Slaton, a grandmother living a modest, predictable life in Palm Springs, California, believed she had stumbled into an incredible late-in-life romance with a handsome suburban American man named Michael Jones. For months, the two exchanged countless messages, late-night phone calls, and deep personal secrets. They built a powerful emotional bond that gave Jenny a renewed sense of purpose and romantic excitement. But behind that polished profile picture lay a massive, calculated lie. Michael Jones did not exist. The person sitting behind the keyboard, carefully crafting Sumit Singh, a 24-year-old call center worker navigating his own restless life in the crowded neighborhoods of New Delhi, India. Sumit had created the fake persona to pass the time and practice his English, never expecting to fall deeply in love with an American woman 3 decades his senior. The weight of the deception finally became too heavy to bear. Sumit made a terrifying confession, revealing his true identity, his real age, and his actual life in India. In almost any other situation, a reveal of that magnitude would have immediately triggered disgust, anger, and a permanent block. Most people would have slammed the laptop shut, cut all ties, and chalked it up to a dangerous online scam, but Jenny was already deeply, irreversibly invested. Rather than walking away, she did something that shocked her family and friends. She looked past the catfishing, forgave the betrayal, and decided to follow her heart halfway across the globe. In 2013, armed with little more than a suitcase, her limited savings, and a blind faith in a young man she had never touched in person, Jenny boarded a long-haul flight to New Delhi. That single decision set off a domino effect of cultural clashes, family betrayals, and international headline news that would define the next 13 years of her life. a journey that began with a fraudulent identity online and has now culminated in a quiet, painful battle for survival. From the very second Jenny stepped off the plane in New Delhi, her idyllic fantasy of a romantic life in India was instantly shattered by the cold reality of intense social judgment and severe cultural clash. A 30-year age gap is difficult enough to navigate in the West, but in conservative Indian society, seeing an elderly American woman hand in hand with a young Indian man drew widespread stares, public whispers, and hostile disapproval. Jenny found herself completely out of her depth, struggling endlessly to adapt to strict traditional Indian societal norms, complex Hindu customs, language barriers, and the grueling daily rhythms of a bustling foreign metropolis. Yet, despite the immense discomfort, her love for Sumit kept her anchored, believing that their love could conquer any cultural divide. Jenny made the ultimate leap of faith. She sold off her belongings in California, packed up her life, surrendered her financial independence, and moved to India permanently to build a quiet life as Sumit's partner. But behind her back, a massive, catastrophic secret was waiting to detonate. As the TLC cameras rolled, documenting their daily life, the true nightmare revealed itself in a horrifying, chaotic twist that stunned millions of viewers worldwide. Sumit had not just been keeping secrets about his family's disapproval. His parents had quietly forced him into an arranged marriage with a local Indian woman years prior. Sumit had been living a double life, sneaking away from his legal wife in secret to spend nights with Jenny in a rented apartment, lying to his entire family and to the woman who had uprooted her entire existence for him. The moment of confrontation was raw, traumatizing, and explosive. Sumit's in-laws and father stormed their apartment, physically separating the couple and threatening legal action, leaving Jenny terrified, utterly alone, and utterly humiliated in a foreign country. Heartbroken, betrayed, and realizing she was living as the other woman in a marriage she never knew existed, weeping Jenny was forced to pack her bags and flee back to the United States. She returned to California stripped of her savings, stripped of her home, and left with nothing but the devastating emotional wreckage of a love story that seemed completely beyond repair. Despite the devastating fallout of the arranged marriage scandal, the deep emotional pull between Jenny and Sumit proved impossible to sever. Love, or perhaps an unyielding refusal to let years of sacrifice go to waste, pulled a reluctant Jenny right back onto a plane to India. However, her return did not bring peace. It ignited a toxic, explosive family feud that played out in front of millions of global television viewers. Sumit's family, fiercely protective of traditional values and their standing within their community, viewed Jenny not as a loving partner, but as a destructive force that had brought shame upon their household. The hostility reached a shocking climax when Sumit's mother appeared on national television and issued a harrowing ultimatum, weeping and threatening to take her own life if her son ever dared to formally marry an American woman who was older than his own mother. Trapped between filial duty and his devotion to Jenny, Sumit was forced to navigate a harrowing psychological war within his own home. Before he could even contemplate a future with Jenny, he had to extricate himself from his past. He entered into an agonizing, drawn-out, and financially ruinous divorce, proceeding with his first wife, a process that required a massive monetary settlement, draining their resources and pushing Sumit to his absolute psychological limit. For years, the couple lived in a state of perpetually delayed gratification, hiding their relationship, enduring public ridicule, and begging for a blessing from parents who refused to relent. By late 2021, Sumit finally reached his ultimate breaking point, realizing that his family's approval would never come. He chose to stop begging. In November 2021, completely bypassing his parents, his relatives, and traditional community oversight, Sumit and Jenny slipped away to execute a quiet, secret wedding ceremony. Bound together at last under Indian law, their victory was bittersweet, instantly shadowed by ruthless social consequences. The moment the news of the clandestine marriage broke, Sumit's parents delivered on their ultimatum. They officially and completely disowned him. In a single day, Sumit lost his entire family network, his heritage ties, and the unconditional support of his parents, leaving the newlyweds isolated in a 16-17 temporary bubble of bliss, totally unaware of the darker medical and financial storms that were looming just around the corner. The euphoria of their long-awaited secret marriage was painfully short-lived. Stripped of his family support and facing severe financial ruin due to job instability and the astronomical costs of his previous divorce, Sumit was forced to confront an impossible living situation. In a desperate bid to heal deep familial wounds and cut down on living costs, the newlyweds took an agonizing step backward. They entered into a tense co-living arrangements under the very same roof as Sumit's parents. What was intended as a bridge to reconciliation quickly devolved into an unbearable pressure cooker, though a fragile, superficial truce was eventually reached after nearly 13 years of bitter conflict.